We're live. Awesome.
Awesome.
Welcome to the Fast Seven. This is the first time we're doing an early show. So I had to get my butt out of bed, get my kid to school so I could be here. But it worked out
Uh,
good.
Great. I'm so
So welcome.
glad.
Yeah. So for those that don't know who you are, because I think a lot of people know you, just do a quick introduction of who you are, who you're with, all that good
Sure.
stuff.
Leonard Buchholz. I'm fixed operations specialist and sales and marketing manager for Dealer Pro Training. Been in the industry since, well, wagon wheels and horses. So I've been around a long time and currently in Santa Maria, California, working with the store here, Toyota store, big store. Very exciting and having a great time. And thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And I feel like I've been watching other people's shows and I always forget to introduce myself as like the host. I'm like, I just say the name of the show and I'm like, okay, let's get started. Oh, looks like Russell's here.
What's up, Russ?
Yay.
Uh,
I love Russell. He supports. He's a good
He's an
supporter.
awesome individual.
He really is. All right. So the show, I like to ask 7 questions that you don't know
Yes.
about, and the goal is to be fast.
Okay.
So let's start with what you guys are doing at Dealer Pro, because I think you have something exciting. And you didn't know I was going to ask you that.
No. It. Yeah. I mean, we have launched a couple of products, and the one that we're really focusing on right now is addressing one of the biggest needs in our industry, which is technicians, and being able to find them, recruit them, train them, keep them, and grow them. And so what we did is we built a program around converting a basic level, entry level technician into a C-level technician, and we're doing that in 90 days. And we just did our pilot program in a dealership this week. I'm waiting to hear back all the different things because, like anytime that you do something new, things might, it might need some adjustments and tweaks and whatnot. But we're so pumped. It's one of the few things that people have asked us for over the years that we finally said, let's put something together. So very, very exciting. 90 days or less, folks. 90 days from
That's amazing.
D
And
level to C.
it sounds like you're working with dealerships to get their feedback, and it's not just like what you guys think is going to work. It's working together to really make something work in 90 days.
100%. That is such a great observation. So we put it together. We said, look, based on our knowledge, and we're all training, we're all in stores every single week, and we're like, okay, this is what we hear all the time, but it's different, like you mentioned, different when you put it into action, and suddenly you're like, oh, we thought this was going to work, and that doesn't, so we need to make those adjustments. So fortunately, pilot program this week, yay! It's very, very exciting.
Very cool. Oh, that's so exciting. It looks like we have Leanne Hill with us too.
Hi, Leanne.
There we go. I love when people comment because then it like feels like we have people watching. Yeah,
We got
okay.
2.
You have 2 people.
2,
Um,
yeah.
okay, so this is one of the questions that
Oh
I like
my
to ask
gosh.
people.
All right.
This one's not too hard.
Okay.
Describe yourself in 1 word.
Integrity.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And do you want to say why?
Yeah. I just want to do the right thing no matter what, even if people are not watching. I've read that a long time ago and it's always stuck with me. And even in my career, my time in the Marine Corps and all that, that was drilled, installed. And no matter what, at the end of my life, I want to be able to look back and say, look, I tried my best. I did the right thing. I tried to make the best decision and I stuck to what I said I was going to do. So
Yes, that's important to stick. I think when you say you're
thank
going
you,
to do
Leanne.
something, do it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good one. Because that's like, I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say they're going to do something and then they don't do it, or they don't at least communicate like, hey, the plans change, or like,
Like when
oh,
your computer doesn't work.
no, that's not your fault. You did communicate though.
Yeah, I did communicate, right? I did say that. Well,
You
it's
didn't.
funny you bring that up because that is the number one complaint that customers have in the service department that the advisors never call them back. or
Oh,
nobody ever calls me. And if you can fix that, folks, you will have high CSI, guaranteed.
and there's ways and process and solutions to help you
Yes,
communicate back to your customers.
100%.
Yep, there is. Here we go. Russell commented.
Thanks, Russell.
Oh, that's sweet.
I think it's all character.
It's been really cool to get to know you because I feel like we met on LinkedIn and then we got to
Yeah,
meet in person and
we
it's
did.
just and then you came on the podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I meant to mention to you, you remember a digital dealer? I got a picture of you with Danny, the magician, when you were up there on the stage with
Yeah,
him. I meant to send that to you. It's kind of a funny pic. If I remember, I'll forward it over
you
to
should
you.
send that to me. I think it's so cool how you guys do the magician because it totally pulled me in and I think I failed, but that's okay.
Everybody, but Dan,
Everyone.
he was at NIADA last week too, and people were just amazed. He's a super guy, and he's very fun, and he pulls people in and just makes it makes it hilarious, as you well know.
Uh-huh, it's hilarious. And is he part of the team or is he just your guys' magician that comes with you to all the shows?
He's our guy. He's our magician that comes to us with the shows. We
That's
book
cool.
him a year or so in advance because he is always busy. He does a
Oh,
lot of shows. He's in Vegas again this week. So
good for
yeah, it's
him.
show after show after show. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to sell anything. He just has to do magic tricks.
Magic tricks. That's what he did. That's
Yeah.
what he does. It's hilarious.
Well, speaking of magic tricks and
Uh-oh.
cool things, do you have anything that's cool about you, like a cool hobby that not a lot of people know, or something unique?
Um, I I love to fish. I've got both my daughters that are grown now into fishing, so that's the one thing I'm pretty passionate about. Everybody that comes to my house and goes into my garage looks at my collection of fishing gear, which, as anybody knows, you did not pay for it what you said you paid for it, according to your wife. Okay, so I mean, if it comes in the garage like, honey, I got that on sale, or I bought it from a friend, it's never new. But I'm like everybody else, I collect gear. It just magically appears, and so I collect a lot of gear. I have a ton of it. It's funny. My daughter was going fishing the other week, and she goes, "I said, you know what? I want to get you a new rod and a reel just for you." And she goes, "Dad, why do I need to? I got a whole stockpile of stuff to choose from here." It's like, okay, whatever. Come by, pick what you want.
That's the good thing about parents. You just borrow their stuff.
Just borrow their stuff. Just take what you
That's what I
need.
do to my mom. I'm like, okay, well, it depends though. Like if I keep borrowing it, I'm like, okay, maybe I should buy one. But you already have it. So,
You already have it, so why do I need to buy it? Yeah, it's the
okay.
same
But
thing.
that's really cool. So
Yeah,
you like fishing then. That's your
love
cool.
fishing. Yeah.
Yeah. What and I'm sorry if I missed it because I had to mute because my dog was barking.
Uh-huh.
um, what type of fishing do you like? All
Um,
fish or because I know there's
uh,
different styles.
yeah, I'm pretty much all fish, but most of my focus is on the ocean. Anything in deep sea fishing,
Oh,
that type thing.
that's
Yep.
hard stuff. Yeah.
It's harder when you catch it.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I yeah.
Yeah. People say all the time, "I want to catch like 5 fish." I don't. I want to catch one nice fish, and then I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'll watch everybody else, or hook them up and hand them off. Here you go, take that fish. Just one.
Yeah. I like that style fishing because then you get to keep them
Yeah,
and eat them. Where
absolutely.
where my husband likes to bass fish and you just put it back. I'm like, what's the point?
Oh, but there's a challenge in that. I get it. I get it. You toss them
Yeah,
back in
there
there. Yeah,
is.
that's good. I'm so glad he's a fisherman. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he used to fish a lot more, but he hasn't
Family.
tried that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff. Okay, cool. So now we know you like to fish on your free time.
Yeah.
Um, and so okay, this is a cool thing. And you kind of already mentioned it, but what's a big opportunity that you feel like a lot of dealerships are missing in their operation? Because you're actually in dealerships all the time. So I always
Yeah.
like asking this question.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question.
And
If
be
you could list
honest.
like
You
10
can be
things,
mean
right?
too. You want
Huh?
to be mean? I said you
No.
can be mean.
I don't want to be mean, but I want to be honest, right? I want to tell people it's like, look, all 99% of the problems that we see in dealerships and when we're working with managers and with teams, they can be fixed if people will just take the time to apply a little bit of work and do some observation, figure out what's wrong, talk to the people, learn better communication skills, and figure out an action plan that they can install and get people on board with it. And it all boils down to this word that we keep tossing around: is leadership. Leadership, leadership, leadership. We keep hearing it in our industry. So I would say if there's one thing in any dealership that could be improved, it'd be the leadership. And that means an individual needs to get out of their comfort zone, go do something that they're not used to doing, and create a synergy and action, a momentum that drives the dealership forward. And stop worrying about all. When we're all focused on these little tiny problems, we end up being the worst managers ever. We become managers about things, and we should be working with people. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. About inspiring and empowering
Yeah,
people.
I love that. Absolutely
Yeah,
true. 100%.
it is. It's true because that's what we need to be able to own it and do better. And um, that's you got to find that.
You got to
And
find it. And you can say it's okay to make a mistake, man. I tell people all the time, I've mistaked my way to where I am right now. It was never about all the success. It's like, oh, I made a mistake. Don't do that anymore. And learn, 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 learn. But you have to be able to stand up in front of people and say, you know what? Okay, I messed it up. I apologize. Let's figure out the next step of what we're going to do.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the comfort zone. I feel like a lot of us get stuck in that comfortable zone, and how do you really push people to get out of your comfort zone, their comfort zone? Is there anything that you advice you'd like to give to like inspire people to
Sure.
push?
It's a challenge, right? It's finding a challenge. Um, People are motivated by fear of loss or fear of pain, right? But what we try to do is, instead of constantly focus on those two, well, let's focus on fear of removing the fear of accomplishment, the fear, what they call the imposter syndrome. Why can't we show them a challenge? Why can't we develop a challenge together? Like saying to an advisor, look, I know that in the past 6 months you've been doing this, but what would it mean to you if you were able to sell this much, or to get that, that amount of sales per month? What would that mean to your paycheck? What would that mean to your wife? What would that mean to your could you buy a car, a house, a refrigerator, whatever it is? And when you get them focused on a goal that's in front of them, it's a lot easier to get them to move forward, right? So let's find a challenge that you and I can work together on, and let's go for it. And it makes people like, okay, I can do that. Let's try and accomplish that.
Yeah, so it's creating a plan because without a plan, you just have a dream. Is that how
Pretty
they?
much. Yeah, create a plan. Was it a plan? What is it? It's a dream and a wish, right? I can't remember the thing. So that's what happens when you get old. All the stuff is like in there somewhere, but whoop, goes
They,
away.
they get the point though. They
Yeah,
get what we're saying.
I hope so.
Okay, so I only have a couple more questions.
Okay.
So what is something that you've stopped doing recently that you wish or that you need to start doing again? It could be personally, professionally, just anything that you're like, man, I need to do that again because that really worked.
I am a procrastinator on things, right? I'm like a lot of other people. I look down and I like, oh, okay, I'll get to it. It's, I got this other thing that's in the way. And
Yeah.
what I normally do is I'll sit down and create a 6 item list, and I rate those, right, from most important to least important. And when I do that and I focus on the most important until I can't do it anymore or it gets done, I move on to the next one. I get a lot of stuff done. So what
Hmm.
happens is I start getting some things done. I'm like, oh wow, it's rock and rolling, train's rolling down the track. I don't have to do anything else. It's still rolling. And then a couple of weeks later, you're like, dang it, I'm not moving forward anymore. My train came to a stop. And the reason why is because I got away from making my list.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow through on it.
No. I think I hear that from a lot of people, and I'm the same way with my list because I always have a running list of things, and I have to write them down to prioritize of like this is what I have to do every single day,
Yeah.
especially to get the results I'm looking for. So it's you have to, and if you don't write it down or don't think about it, you're just gonna do what is easy.
That's right. I have a tendency to say, well, that one I can do later. Let me get this easy thing out of the way. That's so true.
Exactly. And
Do you
then by
have
the end of
on
the day,
your
you're like,
board? Do you
I'm
have
sorry,
a
what?
board in your office? Do you have a board that we can't
I
see on your
don't have a
office?
board. I used to have a board because
Did
I
you?
condensed into my
Mm.
master
Right.
bedroom, but, we're actually getting a new house, so I'm gonna have a office again.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, so I'm excited, but, yeah, I would like to have a board again
Yeah.
because I do
Same.
that is helpful. Do you have a board?
I did have one. I took it down. We're changing some. We're in the midst of making some moves, so I had to take it down. But I need to put it back up.
Yes. Yeah, it's important, and
It
having,
is.
like, one of the dream boards, I always like to have words and inspiring things, like, I'm looking at it right now, right in front of me.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's good to do. Okay, so I lost track how many questions. I think I've asked you, like, 4 or 5, so let's
Yes,
go
you
with
have.
let's go with 2 more. Um, okay, this is a fun question. I think I asked you on the podcast, but it's been a while, I don't remember. What's your dream car? What's your daily driver? What do you like to drive?
Oh my gosh. So for me, I'm still old school. So my daily driver is my 84 Chevy truck. I have an old 84 Chevy truck, which I love.
Wow,
I'm
nice.
getting ready to toss that in to get it needs love. I drive it. My dad and I have this thing. My dad's older, but my dad and I have this thing where it's a contest between the two of us to see who can drive the most dilapidated truck until the very end. So you don't fix anything on it. Whatever breaks is broken until you can't drive it anymore. And he's currently winning because I'm done. I got to take mine in and get some stuff fixed. But
Oh, you
it's
can't go
it's
anymore and
hilarious.
gotta fix
No,
it.
I can't. I'm just like let me just get it fixed. But yeah, 84. But my dream car has always been. I'm a huge A body GM fan, which means the old school. I love anything with the old Pontiacs and the old Buicks and the old goats and that type of thing. That's me all day long. And even a Chevelle, preferably a '69. But any of those A body cars, I'm in love with. Oh, I mean, who doesn't look good in an old Riviera? I mean, especially with the big boat tail. I mean, what I'm talking about. Those cars.
I think I do.
Big- Kaylee's like, you're really talking.
I'm
I know,
Googling it.
I know. Yeah, I did go in the middle. Hey, but go look it up sometime. The big
I will.
Riviera boat tail, and you'll
I
be like,
think I
that looks good.
Yeah, once I see, I'll be like, "Oh, yeah," because I'm pretty good at identifying, like, vehicles and even old ones. I'm like, "Oh, that's a Chevy," or, "Oh, that's a Ford."
Yeah.
So I'm like I've always been pretty good about that. I don't know why. Maybe because my dad always, like, had old cars or liked old cars. He always had those little model things that you put together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he would go to garage sales and get those, and then we would put them together, and we'd paint them and
That is
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't think we have any more any of them, but maybe my little brother probably got a couple passed down to
Oh,
him.
that's cool. That's way
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that made me remember that. That's cool. Okay, one more question. Let's
All
see what I
right.
want to ask you. Okay, so do you have a favorite? Oh no, this is a fun one. If you could compare yourself to an animal, what animal would it be and why?
Mm, Um, gosh dang, Kaylee. Never thought of that.
Yeah, think about that one.
Yeah,
Joshua said
I
hi,
know.
by the way.
I know it's supposed to be fast, but you've totally
That's
thrown me
okay.
for a loop.
I was trying to distract you, and Joshua said hi, so we got to tag him in
Hey
here.
Josh, what's up? An animal. I I
I
don't
know
know.
it's
I
hard.
could see myself. I mean, as an animal. How about a lion?
That's a good
Lions are
one.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
lions are
lions are
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there. They know how to hunt and eat. They seem to be pretty family oriented most of the time, I guess. And they're survivors, which I like.
Yeah,
So there you go.
go. Good answer. I love that. Okay, so I think that's all the questions for today. I
Oh,
always like to open it up to my guests. If you want to ask me a question, you do not have to ask me anything, but you can ask me something if you'd like.
I do want to ask you something. So
Oh,
tell me if you could a little bit more about what's happening in Parts Edge world. What do you guys? How many stores you guys working with, and what's happening?
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot is happening. So I feel like we've been on this really big growth path the last couple of years. So I think we're over 300 now.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just keeps growing. And I don't know if I can share exactly what we're working on, but it's something that's going to be pretty big, hopefully by the end of the year, and it's going to be a better way to communicate with our customers,
Nice.
easier way to look at things within the parts operation as far as data goes. But I think that's all I can share.
Okay, I get it.
Live at least.
We're now you guys over 300 dealers. So right now, do you know what your average dealer has been like saving or making, or what was the result of what they're doing or using your product? What do they get?
Well, recently, one dealership, we worked with them closely on their matrix, and their gross profit, I think the percentage was almost close to doubling, because but they were very low. So that's the whole thing. It depends on where they're at,
Yeah,
especially like when you're talking about obsolescence. If they're really high in obsolescence, we can make a huge difference because they're
nice.
already really high. So it just kind of depends on the operation, but there's always results, because why wouldn't we? That's why we work together, you
Yeah.
know. So
And I'm always, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for you guys. So we will find someone, Kaylee. We will find a pilot. We
yes,
will.
we
We
will.
will.
We will. Oh, Russell has a question.
Yes,
He
sir.
wants to know when you fish, because
Ah,
you're fishing.
that's a great question. You know what? My daughter was all over me the other day. She's like, Dad, when we're going fishing. So right now she wants to do something in July. We're going to jump on a boat out of San Diego. So it looks right now, tentatively, we're the third week of July. And hopefully we get a couple more trips in before the end of the year. They're catching one. I mean, it's gone crazy out in Southern California right now. So fishing is on fire.
Which, do you have a specific boat you like to go on? I feel like I have a friend out there that works on a fishing boat. But
Really?
if I heard the name, I would know, but I don't remember the name.
Okay. My favorite boat is the Liberty, which is out of
I've heard
San
of that
Diego.
one.
Wonderful
Yeah.
boat, great crew, cool people, just
Yeah.
fantastic. But I've fished on quite a few of them. Comes things that come to mind like Tomahawk. I've fished a couple times. That's a good boat. I used to fish the new Loan all the time. Marcus was running it. That was a fun boat. It's an older boat though. It makes a lot of noise when you sleep at night.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun though. And I love how the fishing boats have like they feed you and they have a chef on, because that was my
yeah,
friend. He was a chef on a boat, so
yeah.
he fed everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that have. I mean, some of the food is absolutely fantastic. If you go on a long range, like
Mhm.
those 5 day trips or 10 day trips, oh my gosh, you come back, you put on weight because
I
you
bet.
eat so good. It's crazy. They're feeding you
That's
all the time.
Yeah, that's so good. And I hope that you and your daughter get to go out in July.
Yeah, we
So,
can't wait. She's all
well, that's
over me.
next month.
She's
It's
yeah.
already here.
We fished. We were actually in Costa Rica a few months ago, and we fished one a day out there, and she did really well. For a tough day, she did very well. So it's always cool.
I would never be able to do it. I would get seasick.
Do you get seasick?
Yes, really bad.
Well,
So,
what's funny is that both my daughters don't get seasick, but my one daughter's husband, I used to have a boat. I took him out on a boat. Within 10 minutes, he was sick, and he was like just totally destroyed. So we
yeah,
had to
it's
take him
rough.
back in. It is rough. I feel bad for people that get sick. I totally get it, but
Yeah,
fortunately, that's never happened to me.
lucky you guys. Well, we need people that don't get sick so they can catch the fish.
Do you eat a lot of fish?
I do. I do love eating. Yeah, there's all fish really.
Oh.
There's nothing I don't like.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, sushi, all of it. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a
Yeah,
great
of
time.
course.
And if anyone wants to get a hold of you, I'm assuming just find you on LinkedIn.
They can find me on LinkedIn, of course, hit me up. Dealer Pro Training, easy place to go to. You can shoot me an email from over there. Fill out the contact form. Whatever you need, hit me up on LinkedIn is probably the easiest. That's how we connected. So,
Yep.
send me a direct message or comment on a post or whatever. As speaking of which, how has your posting been? I've noticed you were off a little bit, but you're back now to posting regular content.
Yeah. I took a little break because there was a lot of stress going on in my life,
Sure.
and I could not write. It was just not coming to me. So I've really kind of, just like I mentioned, is there anything that you stopped doing that you want to start doing again?
That
I've
was
really
for you.
it's just a good question because I started doing the things that I was doing so that I could start creating again. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
cool. I
Thank
love
you.
creating content, and I love what reading. I just love reading other people's posts and their take on things. Always learn something.
Absolutely. And you do a great job with your posting too, because it's very thought provoking. And I love reading that kind of content. So,
Good. I'm glad. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.